We have IEA chief Faith Beryl, who said that oil demand in China was considerably weak, with further uncertainties surrounding developments in China and Iran adding to investor caution. Additionally, he said that largely the uncertainty around Russia and Iran is keeping the market on tenterhooks.
That's right. Let's also take a look at all the cues we should be watching out for today. In India, we have the GDP data coming out, the MSCI post-market close is what we will have today. Apart from that, in the US, personal income data is something that we'll be watching out for. In Japan, lots of data coming out, unemployment, industrial production, as well as retail sales data. That's what we will be watching out for. Now, in terms of earnings back home, we have Apollo Hospitals reporting its Q4 numbers today. Apart from that, in terms of corporate action, Vodafone Idea, Equitas, Small Finance Bank and Dalmia Bharat, all these three are expected, the boards of all these three companies are expected to mount fundraising today. Apart from that, GSK Pharma, Bajaj Finance and Infosys and also Uno Minda, their shares are expected to trade ex-dividend today. In terms of other global events, we have the Chicago Fed president who's going to speak later in the day, so that's the commentary we'll be watching out for.
Yes, exactly. And there is also one more press conference with the US President and Elon Musk. This is something to be watched out for in the terms of events which is happening today. But shifting focus to the top global headlines, we are tracking this hour weak spending and consistent uncertainty and trade drags US economy in the first quarter. US GDP has contracted 0.2% in the first quarter of 2025. As mentioned earlier, the decrease reflected a jump in imports and decline in government spending, which was partly offset by increases in the investment, consumer spending and exports. This, remember, is the first drop in 3 years. The January to March drop in gross domestic product, meaning GDP, the national output of goods and services, reversed a 2.4% gain in the fourth quarter of 2024. Imports grew at 42.6% pace, fastest since third quarter of 2020, and shaved more than 5 percentage points of GDP growth. We also spoke to our experts Arnav Das, Global Macro Strategist EMEA, Invesco, and Santosh Rao, Head of Research and Partner, Manhattan Venture Partners, on the US economy. Let's listen in.
A significant increase in imports, which sort of arithmetically drags down growth, but that's not really a very useful indication. I think the bigger issue is that we've had a lot of policy uncertainty, which got going in the first quarter, but really took off with Liberation Day and all the volatility around the tariffs in the first weeks of April, which is after the Q1 GDP report period, right? So I think we have yet to see the full effect.
If the prices go up, then consumers are going to hold back and things like that. So I think there's going to be a domino effect if consumer expects and the investor expects that the sentiment is going to be down. Let's see what the CPI report coming up. It's expected to be reasonable. It's not going to be a very hot number. So I think that's good. So if the inflation is under control and GDP is expected to be at 2.3% this quarter, I don't think the market is going to take it. The market is going to like that. And I think the second half will definitely be good.
All right, then those are the expert view as far as US GDP fine print is concerned. But let's move on to another big headline now. Now, the Federal Appeals Court has now granted Trump administration's request to temporarily pause a lower court ruling that struck down most of President Donald Trump's tariffs. Now, the appeals court in its order said that the judgment passed earlier in has temporarily been stayed until further notice while this court considers the motion papers. The pause gives the Trump administration some breathing room as it prepares to argue that the trade court's ruling should be halted for the duration of the appeals process. Now, officials, however, maintain that they have other options for imposing tariffs even if they do not prevail in the case. Now, important words from Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, who said that, and I quote, Even if we lose, we will do it another way.
Kanishka, what we have seen, especially in this episode, it's like a roller coaster movie. One day it was announced that the tariffs are halted, and today we know no. The court has maintained status quo, at least for now. It is like every day a new news is coming on the tariff front.